It's Miss Pritzel, and I'm book talking a fantasy series by Brigid. It's Kemmerer with a K. So the series title and the first book's title is Defy the Night. The next one is Defend the Dawn. And when this first came out, they said it was a duology. And so when I get into the end of the second book, I'm like, there's no way they're going to wrap this up. Well, now there is a third book, which is, we at least know the title, Destroy the Day. That happens a lot in fantasy series, is that writers don't have every plot point worked out, and so as they're going along, sometimes storylines get longer than they think, and they end up with a longer series. So I've read 3 of Brigid Kemmerer's realistic fiction books, which I absolutely loved. The ones I read were fantastic. So I was really interested to see if I'd like her fantasy series as much, because that's pretty much what she's been writing now. This is her second fantasy series, and she's already started a third one. So she'll be finishing this one up as she's also writing like the second book of the third series. It's kind of amazing she can do that. Okay, so our main characters in it's a fantasy series because it's set in a historical, it's set in a made-up land, made-up world, but nobody really has fantastical powers or anything like that. So Kantana is a land, and Prince Korak is a major character known as Kori, and Tessa is his major character. She is the child of apothecaries, who those are healers, and she and this outlaw Wes are stealing moonflower to help save people from the sickness that is really their country's really grappling with. So Prince Corin and his brother, because his brother is the king because their parents were assassinated. So the king is young, the prince is young. They've had to rule kind of with what some would call an iron fist, because the king is known for saying it's easy to love your king when everything is good, not so much when it's not. So like the land is going through this difficult time of people being sick, and the only thing known to cure the sickness is the petals of the moonflower, which only 2 of the, they're almost like territories or states in this country have control of, and the people who do have control of it are kind of greedy, and they don't really want to help anybody. So I think what drives this story the most is that you never know who is whom, because we know Tessa is Tessa, but we don't know who the outlaw who's running around with her, Wes, really is, and it's not really Wes. And that's probably a main theme throughout this book, is who are the bad guys? Who is out to get the king and overthrow them? You know, the people are ready to revolt, we know that, but there are people backing them who are encouraging them to revolt. And when, like, the first revolt fails, then other ones are involved and things like that. So the political intrigue is what kept this really going. But it was, like I said, I read book 1 and I was like into book 2 right away, and then I was like thinking it's all going to get wrapped up because I was told it was duology, and it's not. And both of them end on cliffhanger, so at least you can get the first cliffhanger answered right away. But you'll have to wait for the next cliffhanger to get answered right away. So yeah, it's like I said, you don't know who to trust. Just like the characters in this book, you don't know who to trust. You don't know who is figuratively backstabbing the characters in this book to try and prevent them from making things better. I just enjoy it. It was a really good fantasy, and I'm definitely diving into her completed fantasy series, The Curse Breakers, which is based on fairy tales, so classic retellings, they now call it, instead of fractured fairy tales. So I highly recommend, if you are a fantasy reader, that you will probably enjoy this. The fact that political intrigue drives the plot line is reminiscent of Game of Thrones. So, once again, if you like fantasy, I really, really recommend this author, and I'm going to dive into her next series right away. So if you don't like fantasy, let me know. I love to help people find books. So have a fantastic day and